My family abandoned me after Sis blamed me for her divorce. Years later, an email with proof helped me destroy her life. About 7 years ago, my family completely cut me off and kicked me out of the house. I was 22 then, and now I'm 29. I wasn't making enough money to rent my own place, and it all happened so fast. I was totally unprepared, both mentally and financially. The whole mess started because of my sister, Hannah. She's a lot older than me, 37 now, and we've never really been close, probably because of the age gap. She got married to this guy, Pete, who's 39 now, and they were together for 3 years before things went south. She accused Pete of cheating on her, with one of my friends. I was living at home after college, saving up some money before striking out on my own, which my parents were totally cool with. But then, suddenly, Hannah came home bawling her eyes out one day, saying she filed for divorce because Pete had been cheating on her for 6 months. Here's where it gets twisted. She blamed me because I had introduced my friend Emily, a 28-year-old, to Pete. Emily was trying to gain weight, and since Pete is a certified dietitian, he was helping her out. But according to Hannah, Emily was the one Pete was cheating with. I was in complete shock. I knew Emily wasn't someone who would mess with a married guy, and Pete always seemed head over heels for Hannah, always saying nice things about her. The whole cheating story just seemed off to me. But my parents? No questions asked, they just believed Hannah and took her side. I kind of get it, parents are usually gonna side with their daughter over their son-in-law, right? But kicking me out was harsh. Hannah threw a fit and convinced them to boot me just because I'd introduced Emily to Pete. They accused me of wrecking her marriage. I was devastated. I tried to reason with them, but they wouldn't hear a word and threatened to toss me out by force. In no time, I lost my home and family and had nowhere to go. I sat crying on the sidewalk with my stuff for over an hour before pulling myself together and crashing at a friend's place. I tried calling and visiting my parents, hoping they'd come around, but they'd already decided I was in the wrong and responsible for the divorce. They told me they were disgusted with me before kicking me out, which was just bizarre because it's not like I was the one who cheated. They blocked my number, and when I tried visiting, my mom threatened to call the police if I didn't leave. That's when it hit me, they were dead serious and saw me as the one to blame. Looking back, maybe I should have seen it coming. Hannah was always the favorite, and I was kind of the surprise kid they didn't plan for. I didn't mind much growing up, but I had no clue it'd lead to something like this. I spent weeks trying to wrap my head around it, but with Hannah, my parents, and even Pete cutting me off, there wasn't much I could do. Pete had blocked me too, and I couldn't find them since both Hannah and Pete had moved back with their folks. It was a total shutout, leaving me to piece things together on my own. So, to get to the bottom of things, I decided to have a chat with Emily. Like I mentioned before, Emily and I weren't really tight, but I had to do what needed to be done. I asked her to meet up one day to lay it all out. I brought up what Hannah had claimed about the affair and Emily was quick to deny it, really forcefully too, and honestly, I believed her. Emily explained that she only met Pete a few times, and always kept things strictly professional, so there was no funny business going on. She was genuinely baffled as to why Hannah would say something so nasty. Emily even mentioned she had a steady boyfriend for a couple of years and was about to tie the knot soon. She even showed me some pics, and what she said seemed way more legit than what Hannah had spun. I had no concrete evidence, but deep down, I felt Hannah was fibbing about why her marriage fell apart. But without any proof, I couldn't just march back to my family and make claims. Back then, I was really longing to be back with my family despite all the drama they put me through. Over time though, I moved past it. I found my own place, threw myself into my work to not only pay bills but also to keep busy and stay away from the blues. I didn't have much choice, I was hurting but knew I had to forge ahead, family or no family. Fast forward a few years and life started looking up. I moved from my tiny apartment to a bigger one and just got engaged to my girlfriend of 2 years. About a week ago, our engagement post turned out to be a game changer for me. Liza, my fiancée, usually shares our snaps on Instagram, but this time, she posted our engagement pic on Facebook, reaching a bigger crowd. It was a public post and a lot of people, including my ex-brother-in-law Pete, saw it. Turns out, Pete and Liza had crossed paths at a seminar a few years back and added each other on Facebook. Talk about a small world, huh? For once, I was thankful for it. Instead of messaging me on social media, Pete emailed me anonymously a few days after the post. Later, he explained he chose email because he didn't want to come off as a sore loser still hung up on his divorce, especially since he was the one who blocked me first all those years ago. Anyway, back to the email. Inside was the whole story along with proof about what really went down 7 years ago. I was floored. Apparently, It was my sister who had been cheating on Pete, not the other way around as she'd led us to believe. And get this, she wasn't just cheating, but she was sneaking around with a friend of mine, just like she accused Pete. My buddy Frank, who was working as a cashier at a store near Hannah's at the time, was the guy. I never saw this coming because I never saw them together. They must have kept it pretty hush-hush. But Pete found out, and when he confronted Hannah, she turned the blame on me, saying I introduced her to Frank and even roped her into helping him with his music career since he was aiming to be a singer and so was she. She claimed they hit it off and fell in love without me knowing, but the truth is, I had no clue about any of this. When Pete discovered the truth, he was so livid he blocked my whole family. He admits now that was a bit rash, but he was too angry to think clearly at the time. And that's how he explained it all. So, the whole situation blew up because I got this really anonymous email, which was weirdly vague on purpose. The sender, who I later figured out was Pete, didn't want it traced back to him. But here's the kicker, the email included a bunch of damning screenshots of email exchanges between my sister and this guy Frank. They were basically laughing at how easy it was to fool Pete and even had a bunch of love confessions and plans to meet up. My sister couldn't deny it, she used her middle name in those emails, which almost none of us knew about. Gotcha, sis. It all started when I got this gut feeling that this whole thing was tied to social media. I went through Lee's Facebook friends and eventually found Pete. We met up a few days later, and he spilled the beans. He found out from Emily, who knew Hannah, that Hannah had been spinning this huge web of lies to our family. I had initially asked Emily to keep my side of the story on the down low because I didn't want any drama, but that totally backfired. If I hadn't told her to keep quiet, she might have told Pete ages ago, and I could have cleared my name sooner. Anyway, when Pete and Emily chatted a couple of years ago, Emily mentioned the divorce, and that's how Pete found out about all the lies Hannah was spreading. Pete felt weird about approaching me with it, which is a shame because it would have saved us all a ton of trouble. I forgave him, though, since I needed his help to confront my sister and set things right. Hannah was basically lying to our parents to get financial support during her divorce, and she even tried to blame me for stuff I didn't do. It blew my mind how selfish and manipulative she turned out to be. So, Pete and I decided to show up at my parents' place unannounced to reveal the truth. I hadn't been there in 7 years, but luckily, they hadn't moved, and Hannah was still living with them. Classic Hannah, avoiding any real work and mooching off our parents. When we got there, my mom opened the door, and we just walked right in. My dad and Hannah were in the living room, and you could feel the tension rise as soon as we entered. My dad immediately started threatening to call the cops, but I told him to hold off until he saw what we brought with us. My parents were confused, but Hannah looked like she was about to freak out and tried to bolt to her room. Pete brought out the divorce documents and those incriminating emails while I laid out the whole story. Pete even told them how Hannah had to give up our grandma's diamond ring in the divorce settlement because she couldn't afford the payout. That was the final straw for my parents. Watching the whole thing play out was surreal. My dad demanded an explanation from Hannah, and even then, she still tried to lie her way out. But the evidence was just too damning, and, in the end, my dad kicked her out. He even packed her stuff for her and handed her the bags. It was wild. So, they basically kicked us out of their house, and I didn't stick around. I left with Pete, while my sister stayed behind, begging our parents to let her come back, just like I did years ago. Honestly, it felt like karma doing its thing, and I was pretty satisfied. A couple of days passed, and my sister showed up at my place demanding I fix things with our parents. Somehow she tracked me down, but I told her I didn't owe her anything anymore. She had wrecked my life once, and I figured I was just evening the score. She took it hard, started crying, and called me a monster, but I wasn't interested in her drama. I just put on my headphones and chilled to some music while my fiancée, Liza, worked in her study. After a bit, my sister left, but not before leaving a message on my door calling me a revengeful monster. Honestly, I didn't feel bad about it at all. She seems to think I'm the bad guy, but I just did to her what she did to me, except I was honest about it while she just lied and got me in trouble. So, what do you guys think? Am I wrong for giving my sister a taste of her own medicine after she got me kicked out 7 years ago? Update 1, Hannah's still on my case, even a week after getting kicked out. I had to threaten her with calling the cops when she wouldn't stop ringing me, 14 times in one day. I don't know how she found my number and address, but I'm not too worried about it. She's trying to make me feel sorry for her because she can't live off a teacher's salary, but I think she's just mad she has to pay her own way now. I blocked her number, but she's got friends adding me to calls, so it's pointless. Oh, and my parents are no better. They found me on Facebook, saw my engagement post, and now they want to be part of my life and come to my wedding. They haven't even apologized, yet they expect an invite. Liza and I can't help but laugh at their texts because it's just ridiculous. Update 2. Hannah sprang another surprise visit right after I told her I'd report her for harassment. I was leaving for work, and she literally threw herself on my car, refusing to move. It was beyond annoying, so I called the cops. They took her away as she tried to make me look like the villain, but no one was buying it. I pressed charges and went to work, not letting it ruin my day. My parents bailed her out, of course, and then sent me a long text about how I'm being too harsh over what they call an honest mistake from a decade ago. That's laughable because they knew exactly what they were doing when they threw me out. So, now that the tables have turned, I don't feel any need to be forgiving. I told them they lost any right to tell me what to do years ago, and they need to stop living in their delusions. I haven't blocked them, though. So, I haven't had the chance to check my messages yet, but I'm planning to soon. Hopefully, once I do, I can finally cut ties with my family for good. Update time. I just got home from work and decided to check my social media. Surprise, surprise, there's yet another long rant from my parents. Liza and I read through it together, and honestly, it was hilarious. It seems like they have no idea that nothing they say or do bothers me anymore. Now, I just find their antics ridiculous and sad. Apparently, they still think we're a family because they've taken Hannah back under their roof and are convinced both of us deserve a second chance. As if I was ever the one needing forgiveness. They even expect me and Liza to come over for dinner to sort things out before my wedding. The nerve. It's wild that they assume I'd even want them there. We had a good laugh over their silly message. Then, I quickly replied, telling them I wasn't interested in anything they had to offer and that I was perfectly happy living my life without them, just like I've been doing for the past 7 years. Honestly, I'm grateful they showed me I didn't need them in my life. Their so-called forgiveness means nothing to me, and they can go on playing happy family with my sister. After that, I blocked them for good. I'm over it. I'm sure they'll try reaching out again somehow, but joke's on them, I'm not biting this time. Liza is all the family I need, and I'm more than content with that. My parents and sister have always been in their own world, and I doubt that's ever going to change. So, if they do try contacting me again, they'll have to talk to my lawyer too. That's a promise.